Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Tlatoani, where last episode we kind of finished the campaign. We didn't exactly succeed, but we would have succeeded without the time limit, and I'm calling that good enough because I want to move on and see more of what this game has to offer. I'm very much enjoying this game, despite the fact that I've definitely had some criticisms of it. There's a lot to like here. And I want to hop into these scenarios here. So I'm going to skip these tutorials. I feel like we don't really need them. And we can start with this. Few military disturbances. So this is a difficulty easy scenario here. I don't know how these are different exactly from the campaigns. Maybe they're a little bit more sandboxy, and that would ultimately be a good thing. I'm just looking at the terrain here and thinking, we might have some food problems. Okay, well, let's take a look at what this map ends up looking like. Okay, so there's no storyline. This definitely looks to be a little bit more sandboxy because it's just asking us to get prosperity, culture, might, prestige, and population levels. It's not asking us to do anything in specific, and it's not asking us to do any... It's not asking us to have things in a particular time frame. So I think I will probably enjoy the scenario section more than the campaign section, mostly because I just am not a huge fan of that time limit. I'm not a fan of time limits in general in games. I find them to be annoying, but sure. I'm like I said in the last episode, that's purely an opinion thing. If you disagree, great. But I'm just looking at this right now, and I'm thinking, this is desert here, poorly suited to most crops. And this is barrens. There's a lot of high ground up here. Like a lot of high ground. Is this obsidian? Quail. No, that is not obsidian at all. Okay, so that's quail. We can definitely do, like, quail hunting. There's forests here that are actually, I think, kind of almost cacti. We've got a lot of forest available over here. I'm not terribly concerned about wood. We've only got 140 maize, and we're importing maize. We're currently importing clay, stone, maize, and timber. We clearly have a domestic source of timber, so that's not going to be a problem. If we come in here, oh, this is taller. Okay, so we have access to clay pits. I am not seeing access to being able to get stone. Turkey hutch. Turkeys can be kept for their meat and manure if they have space to forage. That's interesting. I wonder how that works. Let's go ahead and build one. I'm going to not actually build this here, but I'm going to put it there for now. So we can see that hypothetically, if we put then, say, a chili bed here, right? Well, it doesn't have any farmer's huts there right now. So let's put a regular farmer's hut, residential walls. Insulating a neighborhood from offensive sights and smells. Interesting. Okay, that's pretty cool. So there's definitely some buildings we haven't seen yet in here. We're going to need a granary, and raising turkeys, oh my. Oh my. That is very large. Well now, we have access to the House of Song, which we've seen reference to previously, and ball courts. Those are very large, okay. That's absolutely noted. Ah, dentists. Okay, sure. So, I'm currently wondering what happens if we were to make there be no place for the turkeys to forage here. Well, I think that just needs open land, is my guess. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to take a road out to here. Actually, I want to build this on the desert right now. So, we put a farmer's hut here, and if we take a look at maize fields, does it allow us to build this? Plus 0.2 maize per year, plus 0.2 maize per year. But if we were to take a canal here, 1, 2, 3, And what we'd really want to do is we'd want to move this to be, like, here. That's fine. And then connect it in like this. And then we take a canal like this all the way up to here, right? And we connect it there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we do this. My question is, how does irrigation on deserts work? Well, I think it's going to work just fine, is the answer. We don't actually want to build this here. This was just a hypothetical. So that's fine. We need to figure out where we want to build our farms at. And to be honest, we don't need to get rid of that. To be honest, we're going to need our farms to be in the lowlands. So we should probably have a huge amount of our non-farm development be up here in these open highlands, is what I'm thinking right now. And this area can be devoted, the area by the river can be devoted to farmland. So that seems reasonably good. If we do that, then we just kind of need to pick a spot and run a canal. Kind of like this. So a canal would go there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So then this canal would go about like that and would take up from that river. Cool. Then what we can do is we can have roads that go across this way. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that would go like that, right? No, one more over. So it would end up going here. That's canal. Hang on. I'm doing this very wrong. About like that. Okay. So then this canal would go like this, and this would be one farm plot. That is correctly sized. Okay. Perfect. So we have access to these trees out over here. We should definitely have a Sawyer or a collection of Sawyers out over this direction. So I want to run a road about like that for now, and we can put in a Sawyer up over here. This should make it so that we no longer need to import any timber. So we're going to, we could import or export timber. For now, I'm going to put this on no trade. Okay. So, ooh, furnishers. Noted. So for now, what we're going to want to do, of course, is we're going to also want to get a source of clay. So I'm going to have this be a standard size area here, but this is going to be devoted to services. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we want a road to go up here like this. And then I also want the road to go up like that. Okay, so then this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then it would be one more, right? Yes. So that would go in like this. We're going to take out a lot of the trees here, but these trees over here should keep us fairly sustained. And these over here, which, by the way, I'd like to get another pair of Sawyers right down over here. So one there and one there. That looks good. So they're going to have access to a lot of trees down over this direction. A porter yard should probably go in right about here. That reaches these Sawyers, and it doesn't quite reach this one. But I think we can get there via a shorter route if we remove this forest only. So that would mean coming in kind of like that and connecting in there. Now we reach this. Okay, perfect. So that looks good. And then I don't know what we'll do in this space, but I'm sure we'll do something. So this should obviously at this point be accepting timber for sure. So if we accept timber there, that looks good. Now we're going to want road connection here and here. And then up this way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's going to go there. And then a road connection like that. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Connecting in there and then connecting up over like that. Okay, so up here we can put some clay production is the idea. So that's going to be a clay pit, and we have to put it in here, and I'm going to put one in here as well. We can't put it here, but we could put one here, but instead I think we're going to want to put a porter yard here. So that porter yard is going to go right here like that. And that is currently going to be accepting clay like this. So that gets us a source of clay, and we should no longer need to import clay. We're still going to need to import stone. But now, down over this direction, what we can do is we can put our farmhouse right here. And I'm going to have this be producing the standard fare. Hang on. We need to move this out one. Okay, that's fine. So we're just going to take this out. There we go. And it needs to go here. So we're going to do that like this. Luckily, at this point, it's not a particularly big deal. So we can just do that. And we can get some crossings here like that. Okay. Now, as far as additional farm space out here goes, we can take these sections of road out and make this a little straighter like that. And that'll be a useful thing because I would like to have more farmland out over this way, but we may have to have some of it be a little truncated. That's okay. I don't mind that. Okay. Maize fields down over here. Perfect. And then I'm going to do fruit, 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 fruit. Perfect. And then the rest of this, of course, is a chili bed. So that gets us a full farm there. Now, we do have access to Megui. We have access to Ahuejo, which is fine. But I don't think we need it because we have plenty of natural forest. And then we also have access to cotton beds. So that's going to be a very big deal for us, for sure. So we're going to need a granary somewhere over here, and I'm going to put one in somewhere like, hang on, where are we? Here we go. I'm going to put a granary in up here, and that's going to have access to a lot of space out over here. So that looks good, and then from there, we're going to want to have, like I said, our primary town is going to start here, but then we're going to expand it up into these highlands. So that's going to be the overall concept there. Now, we're definitely going to need additional farms here. There's this space here, which I think is interesting. I'm thinking about Chinampa-ing this up over here. So this can be set to balance timber so that we can construct up over here. Okay, so if we Chinampa a small area here, we don't want to Chinampa much. I'm thinking right now, these are 2 lake tiles. So if we were to reclaim just the area that is here, like this, nothing else on this side, that would be fine. I'm also interested in doing some reclamation work here. We can't get these 2 yet, but we'll get them eventually. And then there's also some space over here that we can do some reclamation for. So that would be like this out over here, right? And then this canal would extend out to the lake proper, like this. I don't know why this is called lake. This is clearly a, like, not even a river. This is clearly like a stream or a brook or something like that. We've got an issue with this canal right here that needs to be done like that. And this canal, this is not a canal. The canal goes here, like this. And then we'd have another round of farms out this direction. Okay, so that seems fine. We'd put this road in like this. I'm not terribly concerned about getting this canal built yet. So we're going to halt this for now out over here. That's not a priority. So that seems good. And then once those canals go in, I think we can now queue up some of these Chinampas. Yeah, these here. And then we can queue up these Chinampas, but not these 2 because this is 1 too wide, I think. But that's fine for services. So it's absolutely A-okay. I don't mind it. We're not going to adjust this, I don't think. Yeah, that gives us 2 tiles here. I think that's much, much better. So that's good. That's not an issue. Okay, so what else are we going to need? Well, we're clearly going to need more production of things. So I'm not going to build turkey hutches for now. We may think about them a little later on, but for now, I think we're going to still primarily get our food from this sort of a source. As long as we irrigate it, it should be fine, right? In theory. So that's okay. I'm going to put in a second farmer's hut right here. and we're going to immediately get that planted. So that's going to be our 16 units of maize there, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and the rest of these will, of course, be chili beds, just like that. But these two up here are going to be a little different. So we're going to put in a farmer's hut here, and this one is going to be devoted exclusively to Migui, like that. And then I'm going to do another one up here, and this one is going to be devoted, for now, exclusively to cotton buds. I say for now. That's going to remain the case. It's going to be continuously cotton buds. And we'll see what needs expansion. So that looks good for the time being. Now, the indicator was that we aren't going to need much for defense, right? That's what the briefing told us. So that seems fine. I do, however, think we're going to need a block of housing right about here. And some of this stuff will be dealt with the housing here, but we're going to need other services here. So I'm just going to do 4 houses right there. That looks fine. And then we're just going to do... Okay, this existing road is that size, so I guess we'll do this. We may want to extend this out one more as well then. Like this, and then we can have these be like services and such. So that would end up being that we would need some services here for sure. So we would need a couple of well dippers, probably 2 of them. So a well dipper can go here to service this area, and also right up here to service everything here, and hypothetically up here and over here later on. That looks good. A dentist. That requires a scenic neighborhood, which apparently this is. Okay, we'll put that in there. Is this a scenic neighborhood up here? Down here is considered scenic. Sure, we'll get that put in. So that looks good. Next up, we would need... Actually, a sauna would be fairly ideal. I'm going to put that right here. I think that's fine. And then we would put a sauna over here as well. Now, we're going to want to halt a bunch of these buildings, to be clear. But for now, this will be okay. So we can put in a sentry post maybe up this way, and then a second sentry post down here. And we're going to need to do the same thing with sweepers. So a sweeper here, and then we can put in a sweeper like up over here. That seems fine for now. Now, as far as diversion goes, I'm thinking right now we would just put in an alcove somewhere up over this direction, and then probably one down over here. That seems okay. But again, a lot of these are not super high priority. We're going to pause a lot of these constructions, but some of them are fairly high priority. So some of this needs to be built, and some of it doesn't need to be immediately built. Okay. So it'll end up being something kind of like that. And we basically need to get a lot of these things online fairly quickly. We've got limited clay, and we're probably going to need to continue to import that, although this only requires timber, right? Yeah, that only requires timber. So our top priorities, I think, are going to be on getting our base material production online. So I'm going to halt all of this for the moment, or all of this. There we go. All of that for the moment. And all of this for the moment. None of that, and that unhalted it. Okay. None of that I want to be built at this exact juncture, including these canals for the moment. We're going to get those built. But the absolute top priority right now is on getting our clay pits online, on getting our timber production online, and on getting these two hubs online. So I'm going to unhalt this section of road as well. Okay, so let's get going on that. This is on fast speed. I want to be on normal speed because I prefer to play here. Excellent. So we're going to get these going, and hopefully they get some of this built soon enough. This well dipper should be paused, and so should these for the moment. I'm actually going to pause 3 of these 4 houses as well. Okay, so that looks good for the moment. Now we'll need more religion up over this way, obviously, and religion down here as well. This might be a good spot for a temple. We'll see what that looks like as far as the... So, hypothetically, that would be weak symmetry. Okay. We could maybe change that, though. Symmetry is something you just kind of got to get started, and then you can roll with it, it seems like. So that's understood. This is a little problematic here. So that means that we should not have a road in those spots. So that's going to have a little bit of road right, or a little bit of open space right here. Okay, that's fine. So hopefully we end up seeing these sawyers going in fairly soon. But right now we're working on laying these roads, and that's absolutely fine. All of these roads that are currently active need to get built at some point. But we have to get that clay rolling in because we've only got so much, and we have to get timber rolling in as well. We're going to have to import the stone no matter what, and that's understood. And we lack variety in diet. Yeah, you don't say. We're absolutely going to need to work on that. Okay, so these roads are going to be finished up fairly soon. Crowding in homes is becoming a problem. Well, we just finished this home, so that should be okay. I want to see these sawyers get finished. That's going to be a very big deal. And the porter yards as well. We need to get started here somewhere, right? And it's on getting these base level resources. Still 48 timber needed for this sawyer. Okay, that's absolutely noted, but we should have the timber come in there soon, and that should, if we get just one of these sawyers online, that should actually solve a huge percentage of our problems. Okay, so this sawyer is done. We now have access to trees. As soon as we get people working there, which this home is slightly out of range of. Honestly, so is this one. But we do have people working there, and we're beginning to harvest trees now. So we now have a source of timber online. That's huge. We're going to keep pushing through up over here, and eventually we'll get all of this road built, and we'll get these 2 clay pits finished up. Eventually. So that's absolutely fine for now. I am content with waiting. Wow, that is one heck of a floodplain. That bodes well for our farming. Okay, so that's good to know. That is very, very good to know. We're going to need to get our food online soon, but I'm thinking right now, how do we want to do that? I'm wondering about the range of this home. Yeah, that'll be fine. So we're going to need to get, well, we don't need to get the canal online, right? We can do just this. We can enable that, and then we can start to allow this food to start to build. But in order to build the clay pit, we need, well, that's just timber. Just timber for that. So that should be okay. And there's definitely a lot of quail running around. We could hunt the quail. But for the moment, I think this is okay. So we're getting this set up over here. The farmer's hut needs just timber to build, so that's not a problem. We do need to get those clay pits online, though, so we'll get there in the eventual times. But I would very much like to get at least some semblance of food coming in, and we're currently set to import maize, so that's absolutely noted. For now, that's okay. Although we'll want to get rid of that very soon. We have very few markets relative to our population. Yeah, that's true. We don't actually have any markets. We are going to want to build some. That requires stone. Okay, we import stone. For the moment, I'm not going to put in a market, but we are going to need one eventually. A large market out over here is probably a decent concept, actually. How far will that reach up this way? Okay, a large market here, followed by a small market up here, should do the trick. So we'll get those going, but I don't want to immediately be focused on building those. I just want to get them down in a planning mode. So for right now, we absolutely need to be focused on getting a farm online, And it's not going to be irrigated at this time, to be clear. This is not going to be an irrigated farm just yet, because I don't want to put the time into digging the canal. That's going to be extensive. That's also going to require a source of clay, which we'll get eventually. So this farmhouse is pretty online at this point. We're just waiting for some people to move in, and that'll be good. Now, this granary is going to be set to accepting maize, fruit, and chili, and we're going to bump this up to there. Okay, so that looks good, and we know that we're going to need to accept megui and cotton buds up over here. So that'll be fine. We'll get that set up preemptively. But it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and next episode, we're going to hopefully start to see these clay pits actually get put in, because we need to get a source of clay rolling very rapidly. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Dark Horse, Ethan Feldman, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.